Growing up, Memorial Day for me was all about marching in the Fairport Parade. Whether it was with the fire department or the high school band, that was what Memorial Day was all about. Joined the Navy, and then June 1990, my aircraft were actually in Florida, but I was still in the squadron spaces, so I secured early, went home, took a nap, and I was going to a theater show that I was working on when there was a radio report of an H-46 helicopter crashing off Norfolk. So I immediately went to the squadron. I can still remember walking into the squadron spaces, and it was very quiet. And the only person I saw was my parachute rigger from my detachment, James Peters. And I looked at him, and I didn't have to ask if it was ours because I couldn't tell from his face. So then it was a matter of who. And what had happened was our helicopter left the squadron going back to the USS Detroit to pick up the rest of the squadron personnel and bring them back. And in sight of the ship, they had what's called a pitch varying shaft failure. Basically, it allowed one entire rotor blade to fly off the aircraft. And with 5 out of 6 rotor blades on it, the aircraft just shook itself apart. And that day we lost Lieutenant Jane Paradise, Lieutenant J.G. Jason Scooby, a very personal friend, AT-1 Norman Geisel, and Airman John Burkhart. 8 months later, I was in the Red Sea with my detachment, and we were operating mostly during the day, but we had an add-on mission at night. 8 months to the day later, after that first aircraft went down, our night aircraft had a dual engine failure and crashed in the water. And again, I can remember being in berthing when the aircraft crash alarm went off, and I had to race up to the hangar bay to find out what had happened. And the 2 pilots and the other crewmen actually managed to get out because they did land in the water, but it rolled over before Jim Crockford could get out because he was not in an aircraft seat. He was just tied to his gunner's belt. And when the water came in, he got washed to the back of the aircraft and he never got out. His dad actually met us when we came back from the cruise. So again, that's another person who gave their life for this nation doing non-combat duty. A couple years after that, one of my pilots, Lieutenant Banty Hall, was flying in Pensacola in a training aircraft. He crashed and died. And a few years after that, I met a young man at our church, Kevin Bianchi, and that name seemed familiar, so I asked him. Turns out his dad had flown in my squadron in H-46s, but then he transitioned to a different aircraft. He was actually the executive officer of one of our sister squadrons, and he crashed in an H-53 off Sigonella, Sicily. And I just found out recently that not only did he die, in other words, my friend's father die, but his uncle, my friend's uncle, died also in a helicopter crash. So this is now what Memorial Day really means to me. It's remembering those people who actually gave their lives in service to this country. Whether it was peacetime or wartime didn't matter. They served this country